Hey guys, welcome back. It's Joey again. You're watching Vegas D-Tech. How the heck are you guys? I hope you guys are doing well. Today we're doing Tech Talk 62 and it's going to be the 30-hour review of the Nokta Makro Legend. Alright, so I wanted to go ahead and break these reviews down instead of like giving you like a 1 month, 2 month, 3 month assessment, whatever. I like to do it in 10-hour increments. 10 hours is roughly, for me, three days worth of hunts. And I just feel that if I make a report card to where I'm reporting in, you know, the things that I'm finding, behaviors, nuances, and stuff like that, I can keep up and give you a actual smart, intelligent, you know, review. Because what I'm seeing right now is I have an obligation. People are, you know, subscribers are actually making buying decisions based on the things that I'm saying. And I'm very appreciative and grateful that you guys take what I'm saying, you know, and take that information and make buying purchases or not making a buying purchase. If I can steer you away from, you know, wasting your time and money, then I'm doing the community a service. And hey, you know what? If I told you something and made your buying purchase, you've isolated it down to a couple of items, you wanted to pull the trigger and you're actually happy with it, if my reviews helped you, then once again, I feel great and honored that I'm doing the community a service. But now I have a great responsibility to make sure that I'm giving you, you know, honest assessments and reviews, not based on just emotions. You know what I mean? And we're gonna discuss that, the differences between an emotional review and a performance-based review on this channel. Okay, so this is the 30-hour mark on the Nokta Makro Legend, and if you guys want to see that video, stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, guys, welcome back again. We are going ahead to we're going to go ahead and start with the 30-hour review. Now, guys, first of all, I wanna discuss with you about when people talk about, you know, hey man, how do you like your detector or whatever it is that you're reviewing? How do you like it? And if a person fires off, hey man, it's great, it's just great. Well, I think that we have to go deeper, especially if you're a YouTube content creator with a channel like mine. You have to go beyond saying that something is great. You have to explain yourself. Why is it? Is it great based on emotions, how it makes you feel, or is it great based on performance, on what the actual equipment can do? And you know, man, I've been accused of it. You know, I've been accused of it before. Calabash has, you know, told me that, you know, sometimes I can get to be philosophical when I talk about metal detectors, and you know, I need to clarify that up too. When you buy something new, yes, you know, you automatically start talking great about it because of how it makes you feel. Oh man, this thing looks really nice. It's designed beautifully, and you know, I just love it. I actually have a piece of equipment that I can be proud of. It's brand related. It's popular. You know, all those things. But all those things, does that really help somebody? I mean, it helps you in your buying decision, but does it help somebody else who's thinking about buying it? Or is it great based on performance? You know what I mean? Is this machine doing something different? Is it doing something beneficial? Is it doing something better than what the other detectors that you had or have do? You know, what was the reasons why you bought it? Okay, so we're going to discuss those things. Next thing, I was watching a channel where an individual, you know, he brought up an interesting point. He said, finding more. A lot of people say, you know, when they actually buy a brand new detector, they say, hey man, I'm finding more with this. I'm finding more. And the question I have is, are you finding more because you're actually giving your new detector more effort? Are you putting in more effort with this machine, you know, stopping for more things, not cherry picking, you know, based on being lazy and whatever like that? Or is your detector actually revealing more things when you go over the same grounds at the same parks over and over again? Is it actually revealing more things that the other detectors missed? One of those two. So how are you finding more things? Like I said, is it based on effort, or are you finding more things because your detector is just that good and it's pulling more stuff up out of the ground, or it's seeing more stuff? Okay. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, guys, is you know, relying on technology. You know, are we basing our finds on we're pushing too much of the tech as the responsibility factor as to what we're finding. Now, the reason that I bring this thing up is that a lot of the times, man, I compare metal detecting to my earlier career in Vegas, which, when I was younger, my hobby was being a DJ, right? And being a DJ, how do they relate? Well, I remember early on being a DJ was the test of being a DJ was could you mix two songs together? And we used a media called a record, right? And you would take two records, and then what you would do is you would stitch it together, and there would be no transition times between one song and the next, because you were able to match the speed of a song, match the beat of a song, and know when to blend it and cut from one to another. Now, that took a lot of talent and skill, and a lot of people just couldn't do that. It wasn't something that anybody could walk into and do. Nowadays, kids are walking onto the scene, and they automatically want that. They want that, adulation. They want that center of attention of saying, yeah, I'm a DJ. And you're like, well, how do you DJ? And they DJ with computers. The first thing they do is they pull out their backpack, and they pull a laptop out, and they flip it open, and they open up some program, and you're just like, what the heck is that? You know what I mean? When we first DJed, we used headphones and we used ears, hands and ears. That's it. And how we did that was we took one headphone off like this. That's why you see DJs wear their headphones kind of like this. This ear right here hears the music that's being played to your audience right now. This is what the audience is hearing at the party, at the wedding, whatever. And then this ear hears the next song that you're trying to blend into the first song. So you've got to split your hearing up between what's about to happen and what is currently happening. And you've got to mend it and meld it together to where you can do a transition where you're going from this song to that song, and it seems fluid and flawless, and nobody knows the difference. And that was the mark of a DJ. And in the DJ community, if you could not do that, you did not get the adulation, and you were not given the thumbs up. You were not accepted in the club. And just purely pulling a laptop out now, kids can just automatically pull up a program and hit synchronize, and then the computer will take the two songs and automatically slow it down and just line it up to where all you got to do is look at bars and just line the bars up and just transition. It sounds like you did a million things. And yes, the technology has made things great, and guys can jump in. But here's the problem. If something were to happen, like a computer were to lock up, or, your battery dies, or, just some type of a virus in your software, and that no longer works, what happens at the restaurant? What happens at the wedding? You have a break in music. There is no fallback. Why? Because you're like, hey man, well, don't you have records? Don't you have CDs? Can't you just do it manually? Just put two CDs in, man, select your songs, and start mixing. Well, the guys just look at you like crickets, man. You're like, I don't know how to do that. I never had to do that. I just used the computer, and it's helped me. I don't know how to do it manually. Because I never thought I would have to. That's like old school stuff. Nobody does that anymore. Well, no, it's not that it's old school stuff, man. That's the fundamentals of learning how to DJ. And just like with detecting, there's fundamentals of learning how to detect. And are we relying too much on technology to aid and assist us in getting where we want to go? And if we don't find the things that we're expecting to find, how much of our expectation falls upon the technology of a detector? I used to be guilty of that in the beginning too. In the earlier stages, I wanted to find more, rings, jewelry, gold. I wanted to find it. And I said, man, I'm tired of bottle caps, pull tabs, foil. I'm just sick of it. I don't want that. I need a detector that's smart enough to figure this out. And what I had to understand that you earn your ways up through the ranks by putting your time in the trenches. You have to. There's just no way about it, man. If you're going to get into metal detecting, if you're going to be any halfway decent metal detectorist, you're going to have to understand how to do this without all the tech. What I'm saying is tones. You start with tones, man. And with tones, the VDI numbers back up your tones. If you can get a congruency between what your tone is telling you, and so what you initially think in your mind, and then you look at your detector face and there's an actual number, and it's congruent. They both look like, you got a higher probability of having something good. But You can't just use technology by itself. Okay, so in my last video, I was just joking with you guys when I said that, hey man, I'm finding that when I dig a plug, I don't even realize that, hey, I had a ferro check meter. I should have checked ferro check before going down to the ground. But then I'm like, I don't realize anything about the ferro check until after I've dug the hole, because I never had that feature on any of my other detectors. I never needed it. I never used it. And I'm starting to realize that I had that after I've already dug the hole, and it's beyond the need for it, because I utilize the hearing first, and then I use the VDI, and then of course if there's some other type of feature on there that I can use, then great. I guess when you get old and you're in your you have your old ways of detecting, it's hard to break routines. So anyways, man, relying on tech, you can't do it. You cannot just rely on tech. Much of metal detecting has to do with intuition. Look, man, there's things that tech can and can't do. The things, look, your intuition, knowing why, when you select what park you want to go to, or what relic site, or what homestead that you want to go to, you have reasons in your mind that back up your intelligence of why you think that your probability of finding the things you want to find are going to happen at that beach at that time, in this specific location of the beach. You know what I mean? You use common sense and intuition to help put you there, and then of course your machine is going to help you in extracting and finding, but you have to walk over the target. Now think, the things that we want to find at the park are generally not things that are gifted by God. It's not a natural, thing that occurs in nature. If you want to find metal detector, those items are going to have to be dropped by man. A human being is going to have to drop it at some point. And in order for a human being to drop something, they have to be at that spot, and you have to walk over it. You have to wave your coil over that spot, and you have to be willing to use your common sense to make the decision of bending down and actually cutting the hole and pulling it out. That's the only way you win in this hobby. You know what I mean? No one's going to pull it for you. No one's going to tell you where to dig. There is no magical, vision glasses you could put on and just stare out at the field, and you could just see, things popping up out of the ground like a coin spinning over a hole. I imagine all these crazy things when I was younger about metal detecting, and that's just not the case, man. You're going to have to use intuition, smart logic, and then you're going to have a detector that backs up that wisdom, okay? So anyways, man, let's just get to the 3 things in 30 hours that I found. I'm going to discuss 3 weaknesses and 3 strengths, okay? Weakness number 1 I don't want to say weakness, it's a concern for me, is the weight of the detector, okay? With the 11-inch coil, a lot of you guys are combating that weight using the 6-inch coil. I don't have a 6-inch coil. I don't think that I'm going to buy that. I already had the 6-inch coil for the Equinox. I didn't care for it. Just too small. I have to swing it too much in order to cover a field. And then if I want a bigger detector, I'm going to have to do a swap out in the middle of the field, requiring me to go back to the car or whatever and swap it. You make a choice, man. You go out to this park, you either have the big coil or you have the small coil, but whatever choice you make, you're done for the day. That's what you have to use. And I since sold on eBay, I sold the 6-inch coil and my Garrett AT Pro pinpointer because I have too many pinpointers. And I basically sold the 2 of them, and I combined the 2 to buy an elliptical coil for the Equinox, the 10x5. And I want to actually see, is that 10x5? I love the elliptical coils, and that's exactly what I'm waiting for to happen with the Legend. I want to get the elliptical 10x5 or 9x5, whatever they come out with. I don't necessarily want to go 6. I've done that with the Equinox, didn't like it. 9, 10, elliptical, that's what I'm looking for. All right, so the weight, and I'm hoping by using that elliptical coil that it helps bring down the weight, because it does get kind of nose heavy. When you pick it up, when you first go out to a field, you got all the strength in the world and you're great. You're just going at it. But give it about an hour, maybe right around the hour, you pick it up, man, you feel like you have a substantial amount of weight on you, man. So anything that I can do to reduce weight on that machine, because it is probably the heaviest of the detectors that I own. Okay. Number 2, The iron separation. We've been watching Calabash do it. He's going back and forth with, history revisited. They're trying to debunk each other and so forth. Taking, what Calabash has done with his iron nails, and of course taking my test that I try to replicate using steel, not quite the same, but nevertheless, I do see that there is an issue there. When you elevate the two and you bring your coil over it, I was getting one-way sweeps, you know what I mean? So the lower iron with the coin coming this way, it would beep. Coming off of the higher target, nothing. Beep, nothing. Beep. So I was getting one-way beep. So there is a situation with the iron. But how do I know that I'm actually, am I really hurting? I mean, in an air test, yes, it looks like I'm lacking, but if I never notice that I'm missing anything out in a park, am I really missing it? I mean, if you scream in the woods and nobody hears you scream, are you actually still making a sound, right? How do you know that you're missing something if you've never extracted it? Unless you spend the day saying, hey man, today I'm going to focus on trying to unmask things that I would walk over. Okay, it's just a discovery hunt today. I'm not looking to find anything in spectacular fashion. I'm just going to do the old pastry super freak thing where I'm just digging everything within a 20-foot radius. As a signal pops up, I'm going to extract it for better or for worse. Now, in this situation, you could tell yourself, this is a target that sounds iffy, ugly, nasty, Durilla. I would have never dug it. But today, I'm going for it, just to see. And if it happens to be that a Durilla ugly target that you would have walked away from, you dug it up and you found that there was something substantial in there and there was a piece of iron or steel nearby that was masking it, then you can tell at that point, you know what? Yes, I am actually missing targets out there because I dug a target that was iffy that I would have walked on, and it ended up being something substantial, and I've replicated that, and I've done it time and time again, so there's an iron issue. But all I can tell you for right now, based on the testing that I've seen Calabash do, and what I actually duplicated here on my channel, is that it does have an iron masking problem, and I hope that a future update that they're making for iron bias is going to be able to set it to where we could bring it down to 0 or bring it forward, however you guys hunt, and help alleviate that problem. Okay, so that was number 2. Number 3 on the weaknesses is the bottle caps. Look, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. I am finding lots of bottle caps, or I have found lots of bottle caps with this detector that I normally don't find. And when I say a lot, it's like, dude, if I'm finding 7 to 9 bottle caps, that's just way too much. With my other detectors, I've had situations where I found 1 or 2 bottle caps here and there. But then I said, okay, why is it there is no bottle cap reject? I keep hearing people say the word bottle cap or reject. What is that? Is there a button with a bottle cap on it? You could just hit that button, it's going to reject bottle caps? I mean, I'm not even really too sure what the metal composition of a bottle cap is. Is it tin? Is it aluminum? Is it steel? Is it some sort of an alloy? Is it between them? I don't know what a bottle cap is made of. Who knows? It could be made of different things, giving you different readings. But what I do know is testing bottle caps on the Quest Q40 and testing bottle caps on the Equinox, what I found was those bottle caps sound really iffy and junky. They make glips and gloops, and it's just blips and scratchy, and when I always ignore those anyways. So because I have a low threshold for ugly, junky sounds, I just walk away from that. Is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I'll leave that up for you to decide. But for me, when I come across a tone and it's junky, I tested it. I put a bottle cap down there. If that bottle cap is in any correlation, if it's in the whole flat, I'm getting fooled no matter what machine, because it'll give me a solid blip, 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 back and forth, back and forth. I'm gonna go for it, and I pull a bottle cap. But if that bottle cap is in the ground in any other position other than perfectly flat, it sounds scratchy, it sounds ugly and nasty, and I end up walking away from it, and I never hit it. I might get 1 or 2 bottle caps in a hunt, very rarely with those machines, but with the Legend, I was getting bottle caps all the time, 7 to 9 bottle caps in a hunt, which was way too much for me. So But the way that I was able to alleviate that, and I've tested it and I've showed you guys it and it worked great for me, is that when I'm in the ground and I'm metal detecting and I hit a number 26 on the VDI, which is normally where a bottle cap starts when I'm close to it, my thing is I go ahead and I start to do my wiggle pinpoint and I raise the coil, and as I'm doing that, the VDI has shown that it will rise. It'll climb up into the 40s, hit 50, and then just like peter out. That behavior right there is indicative of a bottle cap. When I'm able to go to the ground and it's 26 and I do the wiggle and I start pulling the coil back up, if it holds its VDI and holds its tone, then it's not a bottle cap. And using that intellect and technique, it's spared me from having to dig bottle caps. So I found a workaround on that, at least for me. Give it a try. If it works for you guys, great. That's how I've gotten around on it. Okay, so those are the 3 weaknesses that I've discovered right now at the 30-hour mark. Now the strengths, the 3 strengths that I like about this metal detector. Number 1 is its EMI shielding. Okay, listen, I would have probably not bought this Legend had the Equinox been stronger with EMI shielding. That was one of the things that made me very sad about that detector, because I loved the performance of the detector. I loved the style, the weight, everything about the detector other than the build quality. I loved about the detector. The only thing I didn't like about it was like, oh my God, I get around just a little bit of EMI and here comes the, and I was like, man, no way, no way. There's got to be a frequency shift on this. And no matter how I did the frequency shift, man, no. I hated it. I just, ugh. And it made me have to go and now I had to like second guess what detector I wanted to bring somewhere, because I was scared that if I just brought the one detector, I would get somewhere and I would get out to a certain part of the day. And the way EMI works in my town, it's not always 100% powerful. There's like times of the day when signal traffic gets higher, and I think they just amplify the amount of traffic, you know, being used. They amplified the frequency and it just makes it like a wave of this stuff is blasting through at this hour. I'm like, dude, I was just up here in this area and the EMI wasn't nearly this significant. Now I'm back over here 3 hours later and it's just ridiculous. I can't even use this detector. And I was like, why? This detector costs way more than the X-terra that I was using. And the X-terra, the 705, had great EMI shielding. And I would just expect that, you know, this is the flagship of the Equinox, that it would have better EMI shielding, and it just was not the case. And for the longest time, I was just so frustrated and upset with that, you know. But I'll tell you right now, if the EMI shielding on the Equinox would have been greater or equal to the X-terra, I probably wouldn't be having this Legend today, because it would have been the only detector that I needed this far, other than me just wanting to experiment and see what it was all about. So EMI shielding, man, I love it. So anyways, getting back, I was saying is the EMI shielding is excellent on this detector. The tones, it's not chatty, it's pleasing. It makes me want to grab it more. And then of course, the point and shoot, the ease of use on the detector. I don't have to go around messing with settings, playing around inside the menu. I just cut it on. Hell, when I turn it on, if I'm not getting any kind of a chatty thing, I don't even need to worry about channel selection or frequency selection. It seems to automatically know to not be chatty. So it's very point and shoot, user friendly in those regards, man. So in that note, that's what I found in 30 hours of using this detector, man. I don't know, man. What, you know, chime in, you know, share your thoughts. Are you guys using the Legend? What are you finding? Do you find the same things as me? Like I said, in my area, in my search conditions in Las Vegas, this is the city of neon, man. So we're going to have lots of EMI over here. And that was just one of the big deal with me, is that because I'm in a city that uses so much cell towers and, you know, Jesus, man, internet, man, Wi-Fi is just everywhere you go, you know, let alone you got it on your phone in your pocket. And that's like connecting, you know, wirelessly to towers. And that's going to also give you problems. But these are the things that I like about this so far, man. So at 30 hours, man, how am I feeling about that? Hey, I'm still gung-ho for it. I'm still gung-ho moving forward. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot that I'm learning. And that's my review, guys. So, hey, if you guys found anything beneficial in this review today, please give me a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Share your thoughts. Leave a comment down below. I do everything I can to answer all of the comments as I get them. So with that, guys, I'm going to close this thing out. Thank you again. This is Joey Vegas D-Tech. See you guys in the next video. You guys take it easy.